Right. Should we go on the offense? Should we file a criminal complaint against the IRS and file a tick-to complaint and start the whole thing over again?
No, I don't think we need to do that because we've already done it. We can simply what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the term. Continuous. In other words, add to it.
Well, I think
what we've already done.
We're sitting here worried what they're going to do next, and we really should be on the offense. I mean, they broke so many laws, they didn't follow their own procedure, and maybe another criminal complaint with the federal court. I think
a good job.
Yeah, I think there's real close to zero chance they're going to come seize anything.
Really?
Yeah, that's what all the attorneys say too. They could. There's zero chance they can do it legally.
Oh, yeah.
Now, can they do it actually? Well, take a look at what they've done so far. I mean, quite obviously, yeah. About the only thing we got going for us is Scott Snyder is a little bit afraid that I will sue him.
Well.
And I will.
Amen.
I'll do it again. And the rest of his life. If he doesn't start obeying the law, I'm going to haunt him the rest of his life.
I hope you do.
Just going to keep, because he needs to obey the law. He's got a badge. Okay, so what, Yep. Obey the law then, Yeah. Man, I don't want to fight these guys. I just don't want to fight them. But
I know you don't.
If they won't leave me alone, what can I do, What about, should anything offensive be done, like lawsuits or complaints?
No. I wish you would lose the word lawsuit from your vocabulary. The more I hear, that's what got you into more trouble to begin with.
Well, if they are violating the law, what are my options? Just let them do it? Just like Adolf Hitler, you just let them do it? I mean...
Well, I guess there's kind of a difference of the spirit of how you approach it.
Okay.
And when you clobber somebody and say, okay, now tell me what you want, they don't listen but they don't respond as well.
Mm-hmm.
And following what, I understand that's how you were advised and that's what you should do, but as far as if that was really wise, probably not.
And I would suspect, I don't know, I would suspect that all three, the judge, Schneider, and U.S. Attorney, are nervous that I'm going to go back and sue them again for all the stuff they did wrong. See, it's all now public record. I mean, it's part of a transcript. So there's probably a lot of things we could do to make life real miserable for IRS agents because they just plain lied and broke the law. Take the complaint. I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing that.
I know. You just want to be free, Jennifer. We all want to be free.
Well, that's what I've kind of really talked to the Lord about here. If I get out and the case is reversed, I get acquitted, I'm just going to leave them alone. If I don't get out and they keep me in jail any longer, I'm going to spend the rest of my life going after them. Legally. Just take the complaint. There are all kinds of things you can do. There are criminal complaints, take the complaints. There's a whole long list of things I can do. Yeah, I really want to, get this acquittal and leave them alone. If I don't get the acquittal, if they end up putting me in prison, I think I'm going to have to start suing them and making their life miserable legally. They've done so many things wrong. I don't want to fight them, but I kind of like, Nehemiah. I'm just trying to build a wall. Now leave me alone. I'm going to get a sword. I would never do anything violent with them, but I'm sure they sure need to be sued.
I guess I don't understand how suing them is going to help, but...
Well, Scott Snyder needs to be fired, okay? He doesn't know how to obey the law. He doesn't understand what his position is. He's got a badge and a gun, and he thinks he's God. He needs to get... I sent him all kinds of letters telling him, Scott, here's what the law says your position is, He doesn't care. And the court's not going to enforce it. Not this court, anyway. Jury first. IRS has a very legitimate place in our government. They serve a very legitimate purpose. I'm not against. And they keep calling me a tax protester in these documents. Man, that makes me angry.
Yeah.
But I'm not. They are the tax protesters. They don't like the laws the way they're written, so they enforce them the way they want them to be written. I don't know if because we filed so many lawsuits in the past against them, that possibly Snyder and Heldmeyer are afraid that if they don't keep pushing, they'll be sued for all the wrong they've done. And that may be the case. But, you know, if I could talk to them, I would say, look, let me out of here, drop all this stuff, and I'll hold you harmless. Now, if you put me in jail for 5 years, then yes, I'm going to keep going after you, you know, because you've done wrong. But I just want to be left alone. I don't want to fight you anymore. Please, let me out of here, drop this case, leave us alone, and go away. If the wildebeest or the buffalo gets the idea, well, once the lion gets on my back, I might as well just hold still, let him eat me. He's not going to live very long. As long as I got some horns, I'm going to swing him. As long as I got some hoofs, I'm going to kick. If I got any teeth, I'm going to bite. You know, the lion's going to know he's been in a fight. That's all.
Yeah.
And if, I mean, why did Moses even walk? Why not just say, God, you take me to the promised land? No, God said, get walking, follow this cloud, you know. So I want to follow the cloud. I want to follow whatever leadership God gives me. And
you have 1 minute left.
so
Okay.
cheer up. It's going to be fine. Can you do that?
I want, for me, it's even just having a hope, and I just don't have that right now. I don't have a hope that's going to be different in our marriage when you get out, because I'm just hearing things that sound all the same, you know. And
Well, maybe I need to change. Or maybe you need to change and accept it. Say, hey, that's the way he is. That's the way God made him, so I'm going to love him that way. I mean, that's the other hope. Your hope is always that I will change. Maybe the hope ought to be that you will adapt.
yes, sir.
Another option, you know.
Yes, sir.
Just say, wow, Miss Martha Washington had to adapt to her husband. This guy wants to go fight the British. Okay, I'll just go to camp with him.
Well, sometimes when you just can't, you know, get past the unresolution.
Yeah, I'll call back. I'm going to run out of time here.
Okay.
And that is, if they let me go, then that is the plan. If they put me in prison, then I'm going to fight them. They have broken the law. Not me, as far as I know. But yes, I've told the Lord, Lord, if this is over with, if they let me out, drop everything, they should return the money they took, and just drop it. But if it goes to prison, then there's all kinds of lawsuits need to be filed against them, one at a time, for dozens of things they've done wrong. I'm not trying to give anybody a hard time. I want everybody to get along peaceably and be happy, you know. You're right. If it's dragging, I don't want to fight. I don't want to spend the next 5 years suing these guys. I mean, well, if I have to, but I want to go preach. I want to leave them alone. Well, if I have to, but I want to go preach. I want to leave them alone. Hey, question. They are trying to get seizure of the property.
Oh, yeah?
I think all the masters for every DVD we produce should be off your house or someplace else, you know?
Okay. That all's been taken care of.
Okay.
So, but we'll double the effort.
But at some point, we're going to have a second place to do shipping from, just in case, you know. I mean,
Okay.
take a 10% of our inventory or something, you know.
All right.
That'll be a royal project,
Okay.
but I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
You know, they break all the laws. They have the guns and they have the badge, and it's just evil, wicked people. So
Okay.
I'd like to, you know, you get with Eric on that. What can be done for smooth operation, just in case there's.
All right.
You know.
I will.
But hopefully the guys are filing stuff today that's going to stop them. Saying, wait a minute, no due process has been done here. You know, knock it off. Is the motorhome back?
No, I asked Mitch if he could just keep it for right now. Just with everything going on, I'd hate to see that be something that's taken.
You can park it somewhere else.
Well, I'd just assume it not be here
Yeah.
if he has to regift it to another ministry.
And Glenn went on and on and on to me after he got off the phone, Dad, about how it's not fast enough to wait for Eric to get back in town. I have to do something right now. And I said, do you not understand the words coming out of my mouth? I'm not capable of doing what you're asking.
Well, you are capable of going to Mom's filing cabinet, getting the files for the different bank accounts, making copies. And
You are not understanding, Dad.
She cannot do that.
Oh.
Do not exist there.
Okay, well,
I
wherever,
will get them when I get back.
or,
I am intentionally being kept ignorant. I don't know
okay,
the whereabouts. I cannot do what you're asking.
okay, well, there is a time crunch here because they did get a judge's order, and the IRS is desperate knowing they have broken many, many laws, and they're going to break some more laws just to try to, make it where we can't fight back. They want to cover their butt on this one.
Well, what Glenn wants to do is an audit. It's going to take him 2 months to do what he wants to do with an audit over the last 2 years of bank records. He's not going to check you right. We right.
Yeah, well, send it.
By next week, it's not going to make a difference in this audit. And it's not going to make a difference. It's not that, oh no, they're going to come, if they come tomorrow, it's screwed either way. So.
Well, if it's a matter of, if they come tomorrow, it's, hey, you got to deal with Glenn. He has the checkbook. Or he has...
It's already like that. He doesn't have the checkbook, but it's already...
But he's still the manager.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have prayed about it and searched... of course, I've talked to Glenn for hours and hundreds of hours over the last 4 years, and I know there's a lot of people with different opinions on this, but I am 100% convinced that what we have done is correct scripturally and legally, and I do not want to switch horses midstream. When this is over, we may want to sit down with Glenn and say, okay, Glenn, look, we had a lot of problems here. Would you transfer ownership or to somebody else, or should we become a corporation, or whatever, That's, but right now, we've got to stay 100% united. He is it. We're stuck. Where's the mule?
Not here.
Oh, okay.
It's on loan to somebody.
It's a big expensive machine. I don't think there's any danger of any of that. But you take care of stuff.
Cool. All right. I'm trying to manage wisely.
Yeah. Good.
Is that all right? You trust me with that?
I do, yeah. See if you can drive the motor home.
Well, I don't know if the motorhome is coming back here.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You think?
Yeah. Talk to Eric about that. Yeah, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Oh, my mom said something today about how the government's trying to file, or either the government or IRS is trying to put liens on all the other properties.
How does she know that?
I guess she talked to Behringer this morning, and Behringer said something about that. So I'm trying to find out more about that.
Don't tell Behringer anything. He should not even know there are other properties. They're all different trusts. That's all Glenn has to do all that. Behringer's sticking his nose in where he doesn't belong. This case is against Kent and Joe Hovind. It has nothing to do with CSE. It has nothing to do with any other trusts.
I agree, and I don't know what Mom has told him, and I doubt she would have told him anything like that.
But just be sure Mom understands. Don't tell him nothing. He's it's like, why don't you put Marcus Point on the list too, and go see that. Come on. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Hey, I need your driver's license number. Do you have that by chance?
What do you need that for?
Eric is at the, Janet Holly's place, and he's checking to make sure nothing else is in your name, and because the
H153
H153
5055
5055
3015.
3015.
I think it ends with a 0. The 0 doesn't mean anything, but
Okay.
yeah. I don't believe it. There's nothing in my name.
Well, the pre-sentencing report had some moped and it said a flatbed trailer. Do you recall what that is?
No.
There were 3 things. Let's see.
Okay. Is the church property in any danger, in your opinion, Glenn? They're wanting to seize it all.
Well, legally, absolutely not. But practically, it very well could be. Because, they just do things, whether they have the lawful right to do it or not.
What about like Wachovia Bank?
Huh?
What about that Wachovia Bank account that you set up for the church?
Well, they listed guilty.
I know.
And
I mean, should you have that money instead?
well, we can certainly deal with it, but that's why I'm suggesting that we. Well, let me just say this. I suggest that we have any funds that need to be deposited can be deposited with us, because that's not even a target. It's a stigma of the danger.
Well, Eric, I think that we should keep, enough for small operation there. And
Define small operation. I mean,
what you need to keep, what's coming in versus what's going out week by week, and just enough.
your immediate expenses.
Only keep it there what you can afford to lose.
We can, check in the bag and mail them here, or maybe they can be misarranged and more direct deposit somewhere or another. But we can certainly manage it.
If we can get set up the way that we can work better with the IRS and everything.
Well, it is set up fine. The IRS doesn't want to admit it. So I think...
Well, I disagree. I disagree with you, but...
I know I'm not guilty. I wish they would tell me what law they think I'm breaking, and I would love to fix it with them. I am not a tax...
No third-party calls are allowed.
I am not a tax protester and never have been. I know that our country was founded by tax protesters, and there certainly are plenty of them around today. And my opinion is, I think the tax laws are written just fine. It's just that the government doesn't obey them. Had I known they were going after the church ministry and saying Hovind's an employer, I would have added to this 3402 P, letter P like Paul, because that one specifically says I'm not allowed to withhold from people who work for me unless we have an agreement, which is the W-2 form. And only then are you allowed to withhold. And even that is voluntary. They specifically titled it a voluntary agreement, voluntary withholding agreement. So if your boss and you voluntarily agree to have him withhold money, then the boss is required to withhold it, and he's required to pay it over to the government. I never withheld it because, number one, they're not employees by the definition of the term. They're not earning wages by the definition of the term. And I don't have an agreement. So I've had a lot of tax professionals look at this, even paid people. I paid an IRS enrolled agent. I paid a tax attorney, and I forget who else, a regular attorney, a tax attorney, IRS enrolled agent, and CPA. And I sent them everything we're doing and said, am I breaking the law? I got back from each of them a 10 or 12-page letter saying, no, you're doing fine. This is perfectly legal. So I just think, just because the government has decided I'm a tax protester, I don't want that image out there, because though I probably would have been in the revolution throwing the tea in the harbor, but I want to go fight creation evolution. I don't have time to fight these guys, and I don't want to be involved. There are tax protesters. I know some of them. I think what they're doing is probably good, but it's not me. Neither the IRS nor any person has ever been able to point out one specific law that Kent Hovind or the church ministry has violated. They're desperate and trying to hang on to this case, and it's just so obvious. They lied, they broke the law, and I'm not guilty, and so now what are they doing? It's going to look really bad to let me out. I'm sorry, that's what they had to do in Act 16, to let the guys out.
Yeah.
After they beat him, then they... So, okay, they beat me, they embarrassed me, they had me all over the news media. Now, get me out of here.
Yeah.
And I still think Scott Snyder is way outside his delegated authority. And I wish he would show me that he's not. That's all he would have to do is just answer my questions, Well, yeah, I'm just looking for, the whole thing seems so unjust. I still don't know what I did wrong, and I am a staff evangelist. And can the church appeal to the court saying, hey, release our staff evangelist regardless of all this other stuff? You want to type a response?
If I have to. I typed my response. Amen, Lindsay. I'm printing this out for Ken is what I printed.
Oh, okay. Lindsay, I think you misunderstand. The rule of law is the Constitution, which says crimes in Florida should be tried in Florida, not in a federal court.
Okay, you went too fast. I think you misunderstand what?
I think you misunderstand, period.
Okay.
The rule of law is the Constitution.
Okay.
Which clearly says crimes are to be tried in the state where they occur.
Okay.
The Constitution, which this judge took an oath to defend, is what is being violated.
Okay.
By this court getting involved
Okay.
in a crime, in parentheses,
Okay.
that obviously took place in Escambia County.
Okay.
To challenge the jurisdiction of this court is to uphold the Constitution and rule of law.
Okay.
Where am I wrong?
I don't want to send this, but I will.
Just sign it, sign my name. I think his analogy of robbing a bank is so different because if somebody robbed a bank, it would not be a federal court that would try it. It would be a state court, and they would have jurisdiction. If somebody came in and raped and murdered somebody, there would be a state court that would try.
Okay, if a state court had us in court, what would that do, Kent?
That would be perfectly fine. That would be constitutionally correct. That's the whole point, though. That's not how they do it. They're not obeying the law. It's precisely why a state court does not have us in there.
Why?
We didn't break any state laws. See, people get the false idea that the court system is in 3 tiers, that the county is the lowest, the state is higher, and the federal is higher yet. That is totally untrue. They each have separate jurisdictions. It's like our house and the Skinner's house and Jen Hadley's house. One is not higher than the other. They're all side by side, separate, different jurisdictions. The federal has total jurisdiction over federal territories, over courthouses, over post offices, post roads, etc. They have jurisdiction. I agree. I've never questioned that. The state has jurisdiction over crimes that take place within their state. The county has jurisdiction over things. I agree. The point is that Morris is making here, and Lindsay's missing, is the federal government is misapplying their authority, just like the IRS misapplies their authority. Scott Snyder has very legitimate authority to do things according to the law, and that's what I sent him in all the letters. I said, Scott, I agree, you have authority to alcohol, tobacco, firearms, Title 27 taxes, but I'm just asking you to please show me where's your authority for me, you know. I'm not questioning that he has authority. Like if a policeman from Pensacola is chasing you out of the city limits, you know, he loses his authority. Or if he goes across the other way on the line, he has no jurisdiction. It's a whole jurisdictional question, a very legitimate one.
Well, I'm sorry that I don't get it.
Okay. And I'm not ready to roll over. This is still America. They are the ones breaking the law, not me. So I'm not ready to roll over and give up. Sorry. You can. You can if you want.
Okay.
But I won't. So far, that's my understanding of Scripture. And whoever wrote the book, you know, they're right. If your goal is to be crucified, that's correct. Don't say a thing. But that is not my goal. And if I am crucified, I want people to know why, and I want my message to continue. I want people to say, wow, Hovind was right. Let's spread these tapes around. Rather than say, oh, wow, Hovind's a thief, and,
Right.
let's steal his tapes from our library away.
Right.
I'm trying to obey the law. If I'm breaking the law, please show me which law. Do you obey the law? If I'm breaking the law, please show me which law. Do you know which law we've broken right now?
Well, I know they claim we broke a structuring law, which I don't see that. And they claim we're supposed to do withholding.
Can you show me which law says that?
No.
They didn't either. There is no such law. Now, the fact that this has been the custom for, 30, 40, 50 years, I'm sorry.
Well, and the bold-faced fact that we are never going to get along with the IRS unless somebody does withholding, though, is also a fact.
Oh, there's other ways to get along with them, but that is certainly one option.
Well, I think you're very naive to even say that.
Well, it's kind of like the mafia saying, look, you're going to pay us $500 or your store's going to burn down. And somebody comes in and says, no, I'm sorry, I'm not paying you $500. And, if nobody ever stands up to the mafia, then they just continue.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's stores do get burned down and they get their arms broke and stuff like that, I know. But that doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
I mean, if George Washington and those guys at Valley Forge had not froze their butt off, and lost half their army and hadn't stood up, just said, look, we're going to stick it out, where would we be? I mean, they just nearly lost that war for 10 years straight, or whatever it was, 6 years straight. And just, it wasn't so much of can we win, it's can we just hold off long enough to not lose. And the other guy's going to get tired. And I think Lindsay's right. If this one is turned around, the IRS is going to be tired of fighting us.
Just keep praying that we can find a good accountant that would work with us and be a representative, a go-between with us and the IRS, I feel like we desperately need that.
I wouldn't panic on that issue. We can talk to Glenn. We definitely want good accounting, etc. But as I've been reading over all the laws and stuff, I want everybody to obey the law when this is over with, that's all. Well, first of all, this judge has done a lot of things wrong. I mean, we are not guilty. I mean, there's just no reason for them to have me here. Just none, I'm not going to run. I didn't do anything wrong, but I know of. I wish they'd tell me if I did, Good, it's really all or nothing. I've been reading over everything, and it's like, man, as far as I know, brother, my heart is right with God. We have done everything by the law.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it's going to win.
Yeah.
But I read over everything 100 times, and I said, I don't know of anything we've done that violates any laws. It violates maybe what some people think we ought to do, but there's no law whatsoever that we can find. And the IRS couldn't even show us any law we broke. Yeah, you might want to just email him back and say, we pay lots of taxes. We don't refuse to pay any tax. What tax would they like me to pay?
Right.
Show me the code. We'll pay it.
Maybe you better say that and let me type it out.
Okay.
Because when I hang up, then I can't remember, how you said it. Okay.
We do not refuse to pay any taxes.
Okay.
Our ministry pays every tax that we owe.
Okay.
If we have missed one, please show me the code, and we will make it right.
We will make it.
My affidavit sent 3 times to the grand jury over a year ago spells our opposition clearly. And then maybe you can attach that, the 3rd affidavit. Do you have that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And then close by saying, we have a responsibility to God.
Okay.
To obey the law.
Okay.
Please show me any specific law we are violating. So far, all we've seen are generic accusations.
I guess my fear all along, I believe that we want to serve God, but are we right in this particular whatever? That I don't know.
Well, as far as I can see from restudying the law, we are absolutely obeying the law, and they are not obeying the law. Now, is the court going to enforce that is the question. I don't know, Is America so far gone that right doesn't matter anymore, that the law doesn't matter anymore, the Constitution doesn't matter anymore. I don't know. I hope we're not that far gone in this country. But constitutionally and statutorily, according to the statutes and everything I have seen, we've done what's right. But from what I can see, so far, here's what the government has. They have an indictment based on information from an IRS agent who's not even authorized under Title 26 taxes. Because I sent him 4 letters about that very question. Where's your authority? Those are the letters he never answered. But as I read over everything, the stuff that even back from John Schlabach, 10 years ago, there simply is no law that we broke, and they still haven't pointed to a law that says we're supposed to withhold. They just say it's general knowledge, It is such a giant scam, and I'm thinking, what law did I break, I don't know how these people that do this live with themselves. IRS has been doing this for years, just wreaking havoc of families, just tearing people apart. The law means nothing to them, absolutely nothing. How did America get this way? I guess they are God's judgment on America, for our wickedness. But I feel sorry for these agents and stuff.
No third-party calls are allowed.
I don't know why they say that. How on earth can I make a third-party call from here,
I don't know.
I can't. And, anyway. So, I guess Judgment Day is going to be a fearful thing for some of these people.
Yep.
Where do they find people like that? Where did Hitler find people to do what they did, Why do they just love up money, root of all evil? Pay them a big salary and they'll do anything.